You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles, and I'm Frank because I have to be. Marvi, here's a question for you. Why is it even important to have your own personal sense of style? Why can't you just wear what's in the stores right now, on display, on sale?
If you're at the point of your life where you're pretty successful in attracting women in dating, maybe it's not so important, to be honest. But if you're a guy who's trying to figure this stuff out, it's one way that you can help achieve the objective of getting more successful a little bit quicker. I already mentioned the fact that it's part of your nonverbal communication when you're talking with women, that you can improve very quickly. It's about the first impression you make when you first meet a woman. Sometimes if you dress a certain way or you have a good, cool personal style, you just might be her type, and it might be easier for you to attract her. It also breaks down one of the barriers that could stop you from attracting her. If you're dressed, women pay a lot of attention to fashion and what people wear. I heard the quote, they can see thread count from a mile away in terms of a pair of jeans. So they pay attention. So if they see a guy pays attention, that's interesting to them, because most guys don't. So you're standing apart from most guys.
What are some of the specific signs that a woman will look for when she's studying a man who's got a certain sense of fashion?
Shoes, and shoes. If you ever notice, at least my observations, if a woman's checking you out, she'll look down and look up. Have you ever experienced that?
Mm-hmm.
She's checking out your shoes. And if she likes them, she'll smile when she looks back up. That's a pretty good indication.
Just shoes?
Shoes are number one. A guy could be wearing an old T-shirt, plain pair of jeans, and a really cool pair of boots and look good. And a guy could be wearing a Armani suit with ugly shoes and not look good. So for me, it's an important factor that women notice. It doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive pair of shoes. It could be a plain pair of shoes that have been polished, that look clean and presentable.
So would you say that in designing your own personal sense of style, that the majority of the emphasis should be on the shoes?
Shoes is where I usually start when I'm teaching. What I emphasize is not specifically what to wear, but how to express your personality in what you wear.
Give me an example, because it still sounds very vague to me.
Okay. I guess the best way to describe it is what I call the 25 to 32 concept. It's about realizing what type of women you want to attract and expressing that in your clothing. Most guys that I've asked when I do a pre-interview, I ask them, well, what age group are you looking for? And almost always they say 20 to 40. They're not very specific. So if you're not sure, then you should be able to dress in a certain style that can attract different type of women and doesn't put you in a certain hole. If you dress like a hip-hop artist with all this baggy clothing, you might attract 18, 19-year-olds, but you might not attract a 40-year-old. And there's a movement in fashion right now where there's a lot of 40-year-olds, 45-year-olds who are single, who go out all the time, but they want to look like they're in their late 20s because they're still trying to attract 20-year-olds and 30-year-old women. So if you can express yourself and that you understand fashion and you're wearing what 25, 30-year-olds wear, you're going to look younger, and you can attract women that are from 20 to 40.
If I wanted to attract 18 to 22-year-olds, what are some of the fashion tips that I would follow? What are some of the clothes I would buy?
I would go more for what I call an urban look, a little bit baggier clothing, jackets and pants with, let's say, an army pattern, that sort of thing. Clothing you see more, musicians wear. A lot of jewelry, maybe big cowboy boots, that sort of thing, or chunky running shoes. People that wear into young clubs, that sort of thing.
What about brand names like Puma running shoes and that sort of thing?
I don't worry about brand names so much than with the overall look. I don't like clothing, for me personally, that will advertise a brand name on there. I mix and match different styles, different brand names. I might be wearing a really expensive pair of jeans with a shirt that's less expensive because it just matches and looks good. It's more about expressing who you are, and it's also creating a little bit of a mystery when a woman sees you. She can't define your style so much. It's such a mix at one point where it's just who you are. For example, if I'm wearing a crazy pair of boots with nice jeans and a button-down shirt, and more of a risque haircut. It's like, well, what's going on here? Like, he's not just a preppy guy because he's got a few elements that are preppy, but he's also got some more that are a little bit more wilder. So they're like, okay, well, what does he do? They can't really tell. They may not be able to tell your age as well, so they can't really define you as much. And that's interesting to women.
What about a classic look? A jacket, a tie, someone with a nice set of polished shoes. Maybe somebody who looks like a corporate executive, works in an office. Just a really standard, clean, but presentable, classic look.
That's fine if you're going to meet women in higher class social events. Most of the guys that I help, they're going to bars and clubs or coffee shops or a little bit lower end social events to meet women, where it's more business casual. It's a little bit more casual than that. So that is more where I gear towards. Guys are very good at like matching a tie and wearing a suit. Take them out of the suit and they don't know what to do.
Okay, big question as it relates to the study of women and dating. The word peacocking. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What do you think about peacocking?
Peacocking is great if you're going to a club that's very loud. My definition of peacocking is putting on a piece of clothing to go specific to a club, then when you get home you take off and you don't wear it again till the next week. What I like to teach is, like I keep mentioning, is an image that you can project all the time. What I wear to a club is what I would wear to work, is what I would wear to a coffee shop. It's who I am. I don't put on specific things just to go to a specific place so much as I do about express the fact that I'm stylish and that I know fashion and that I have a bold personality because I wear bold clothing. That's the difference between peacocking and, having a sense of style. Anyway, someone who wears, for example, a cowboy hat who's not a cowboy, it's not who they are. They're just trying to show off or they're just trying to have some fun. There's nothing wrong with that. I've done it. I sometimes still do it if I'm in a mood, I'm going to a crazy place. But it's not who I am. I'm more about teaching guys to dress based on who they are.
Where does someone start? Let's assume that I'm a client. I show up to one of your seminars or I'm doing one-on-one time with you. I don't know who I am. Where do I start so I know what to go out and buy?
I would start with trying to figure out who you are. It's very important. I talk to the guys. Are they going to be going out to bars and clubs? Are they mostly meeting through social circle? Are they mostly meeting through speed dating? Depending on the events.
So do you always start with the type of women or the type of venues that these guys are?
Well, I just want to know. I want to know their personality. Some guys are more conservative, and you can still have a personal sense of style with more conservative clothing. If you're more comfortable, there's guys that are comfortable in their body, so they might wear more bold clothing that shows off their body more. Guys that are more conservative, you can still have a great sense of style, but maybe wear clothes that are more conservative. So that's what I would start with. What are you comfortable with? What I find is guys start off with more conservative stuff, and as they get into it, then they actually start feeling more comfortable expressing themselves with clothing, and then actually go to more bold stuff. So it's more, first of all, who are you? Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is I would look at, what I tell guys is when you see yourself, when you visualize yourself going to talk to a woman, what does that image look like? Your ideal image, visually. What are you wearing? What do you look like? How are you expressing yourself? You talk in your book about being your own mentor, and it's the same concept. Is what do you want to look like? What do you picture a successful you looking like when you're going to talk to them? That puts them in a mind frame where they start evaluating what they're wearing and how they're projecting. I try and tell them, based on how they're dressed now, how do they project themselves to the world versus how they want to, and try and narrow that gap.